order this meeting of USD 49 Board of Education for August 6th, 2018. The first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve? Is that Paul and... All right, I have a motion and a second. I open the floor for discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. I will not ask for nays. Okay, approval was, agenda was approved by factors 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 to 0. Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is audience participation. Moving on to item number 4, communication from other organizations. The board will review communications from other organizations, including minutes and agendas.
There's none this evening.
There's none, all right. Next item is the report of the superintendent.
The one item I wanted to share is always exciting at the beginning of the year of inviting those new teachers, new certified personnel to the district, and wanted to share that this morning, or through the day, Shanna ended up putting on, with a number of people assisting, but put on the new teacher orientation. I think there was 29. I think even Michelle showed, wasn't it?
36.
Oh, excuse me, 39.
Right, 36.
Yeah. So that was quite a number for this year. Variety of positions that have been filled, and at this point, pleased that Chris, I think, got the last hire last week. So at this point, I think we have we're ready with the certified staff at this particular time. So as far as report, I know the other exciting piece, but I think Shanna will speak on that. That has to do with enrollment and numbers there. She'll speak on that in just a few minutes.
Okay, very good. Any questions for John at this time? All righty, thanks, John. Moving on to item number 6, the consent agenda. Approval of the consent agenda. Items to be approved by the board in one motion unless the item is otherwise removed. First item is board meeting minutes of July 23rd, 2018. Approval of bills in the amount of $388,448.81. Personnel transactions and the financial reports petty cash report.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, I will not ask for nays. Since 6 of us approved, the motion passes 6-0. Okay, moving on to old business. First item, enrollment update. Is that Shanna?
We had our central enrollment last Wednesday and Thursday, so we had 2 days of that. Prior to that, July 16th, mid-July, we made available online enrollment, and so we steadily had updates from that. About a weekend, we were at 26% had completed online at home, so that was constant and consistent that more and more were doing that. And then as of this morning, we have 89% of everyone enrolled. We're probably at a higher percentage of those that are actually coming back. So those that are in our system are at 89% that have gone on and started the enrollment process, but some of those haven't contacted us yet that they won't be back. Those are the ones we have in our system, so our number is probably higher. I thought it went really smoothly at the high school. We had some positive comments. One of the most probably unsettling is for incoming kindergarten parents, because we weren't able to give them necessarily the first choice they preferred at that time, because some sections were full, but we knew that some people may not be coming back. So we did like we do with Kindergarten Roundup. We asked for their preferred choices and told them to get back to them. And so our elementary schools made phone calls on that second day of enrollment, Thursday, calling parents that hadn't come in to find out for sure if they were returning or if maybe they were moving, something else. So happy to report that by Friday we were able to follow up with all those that haven't place, and everyone got their first or second choice. So it all worked out as far as numbers. So I just know that's a little time of anxiety, especially if you're a first-time parent with a kindergarten student. They all seem fine by Friday, so I'm glad we didn't have to carry that out any farther. So right now, our numbers are inflated, so I'm not going to report numbers in the Power School system because we have new families in, but then we have not been contacted by all those that are still enrolling or haven't contacted us or went to a school to enroll, and then that school has to contact us for records. So we'll have more solid numbers, in the coming weeks, and we'll continue to give you all updates.
Very
Any
good.
questions or comments you guys have heard? I want to thank the committee. There was a lot of work in planning and putting on those 2 days. It's nice to have the speed checkout. We had several families come and just check out because they did most of it online. We had some really good help. It was very steady those 2 days. And then, everything seemed to go well. We will continue to evaluate, see what we can do better, and then plan to continue that process.
Mandy was the only board member that was that had talked to me about the enrollment. She ended up sharing she was very pleased. She was able to enroll her children. It took she did it online, and she said it took about 15 minutes and she was done. So certainly she was one that spoke well of it. I didn't know if there was any other board members that share their experience or what other individuals would. And the reason why is we really do. The last couple of years we have really been trying to identify what's more convenient and helpful to the families of getting their children enrolled. One location, instead of having to go to many, was it seems like a simple idea, but it really took a lot of planning to get that in place, and we're very happy that that's happened. Online, I think, is inevitable. I think most school districts are going that way. It's just it's happening that way, and it worked. We've only been doing it a few years, but it really worked very well this year. Actually, I think we have about 1,300 enrolled before we even had our enrollment doors open last week. So 1,300 chose to use that even before we had August 1st and August 2nd for enrollment dates. But
Great.
Those of you who did it, how many forms were there? If we had to do that paper, multiply that by all of our students, that'd be a huge amount of paperwork and tracking. So this, I think, does work well.
Very good. All right. Okay, thanks. Second item under old business is the Lewis Field Stadium Facility Use Agreement. The board will discuss and renew the renewal of the Lewis Field Stadium Facility Use Agreement for 2018 football season.
I move to approve the Lewis Field Stadium Facility Use Agreement.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Paul, okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Was that 6? I think it was. Okay, motion passes 6-0. Now, moving on to new business. First item, FY19 budget review. Tracy?
I did include a summary of some of the highlights and things I want to point out. So if you do click on the link, it'll bring you immediately to the summary, and then the full budget document is following that. So just some things I wanted to point out that the state and our legislature always looks at where the money's going. So our instruction this year is increasing 6%, the money going there. Our student support services is up 21%, and our instructional support services is up 22%. If you notice the numbers, the dollars they're highlighted for operations and maintenance and capital improvements, they're very high percentages. That is our capital outlay money, which I'll touch on here in just a little bit. The debt services did go down to 0, and that was our no fund warrant, which we no longer have. Right. And at the bottom, this picture here is just kind of, I thought, a very good way to see it visually of how much money is going towards instruction versus all the other areas in the budget. Again, the instruction, the expenditure per pupil is going from $9,600 in 17-18 up to $10,300 in 18-19. Our sources of revenue, state, local, and federal, I wanted to point out that the state revenue is up 2.1 million, federal revenue is up 156,000, and our local revenue is actually going down 1.3 million this year. As far as the mill levy, general fund still at 20 mills by law. Capital outlay is still at 8 mills by your resolution. The supplemental general, if you recall last year, we did levy 29%. We are going to 30% this year, but our supplemental general mill levy still is going down from 14.92 to 14.799. Declining enrollment, if you recall, was phased out. We received half of it last year, and this year we are receiving 0, so there is no taxes being levied there. So the total for the school district, our mill levy is going down 0.767 mills. The assessed valuation was just up slightly, almost 2 million, where our debt did go down from 2.2 million to 1.3 million this year. The Form 150 is where we have our enrollment numbers and then all of our weightings. This is inflated. We do add every area from head count through bilingual and CTE and at-risk, just to make sure that we do have enough budget authority should our audit come in higher. So those are inflated. We do have our working budget that we know is what we really expect to have, and that's what we work off on, work off of every day. But this is what we submit to the state to make sure we have that budget authority. I did highlight the 14.4 for the high density at-risk student weighting. That did continue this year. We are eligible for that. They look at each individual school building compared to the whole district. And so we do have one school that qualifies us for that. So we do get 14.4 FTE towards our base state funding. So it gives us a total budget, general fund budget authority of just shy of 19 million.
Hey, Tracy.
Yes.
On that bilingual, so that's based on, because I know we have those students throughout the district, not just in one building. Do they just take an average of those then, or?
Right, we get the bilingual weighting, and then they also look at the high density at risk, which is looked at each building individually. So to get the, I'm trying to think where it's at on there, but some districts do receive weighting because they are over 35% or something like that at risk. But since we are under that, they actually created that law last year where we get a little bit of a portion based on our buildings. So, because obviously it's going to cost a little bit more to educate those kids.
Thank you.
Yes, please stop me if you have any questions. I'm sorry. So, as I said, the supplemental general or local option budget, we will be at the 30% this year, so it'll be just over $6 million we have in LOB. The 8 mills for capital outlay, I did want to point out that the resolution adopted by the board was dated 6/6 of 2014 for 5 years. So that will be expiring June of 2019. So we'll be bringing that to you in the spring for discussion, how you guys would like to handle that if you want to renew that resolution for another 5 years or what you'd like to do there. So I wanted to point that out, that it'll be coming to you. One thing that is new this year is in the supplemental general fund, we are required to transfer from that fund to bilingual and at-risk K-12 a proportion of our general fund. So I just wanted to point that out, that those are new transfers. You see the zeros prior to that. But in essence, all it's doing is we will lower the transfer from general fund, that same amount. So it's not any increase in funding. It's just an accounting system, the way the legislature wrote it. So I don't know if that was their intent, but that is actually what it is.
Okay.
So here you can see on the bilingual fund, we do have the $250,000 coming from general, and then also $100,000 coming from supplemental general. One thing I did want to point out on bilingual is you'll see that that's considerably higher this year than it was last. We did, through discussions, decide to better track what we're actually spending on bilingual. We moved all of the salaries to bilingual, so those people are actually being paid out of that fund, just so we can really get a better grasp on what we are spending for bilingual. It's no additional money. Instead of coming from general fund, it's coming from here. We just moved staff salaries, but it increased that fund. Capital outlay, I mentioned, we did have the carryover of 2.7 million in that. And just wanted to point out that I do have our total revenue and our total expenses the same, so we do have a zero balance. That allows us to spend that money should we need to. We have no intent of spending every dollar in capital outlay, but should something catastrophic happen and we would need to, we always want to budget it this way as far as the state is concerned, giving us the authority to spend that.
Okay.
The declining enrollment fund was the one I said that was tapered off the last 2 years. So we will not be levying any new tax dollars for that, but we do have a carryover and money that will still be coming in for delinquent taxes. So when we were at KSDE on Friday, we talked to Craig about it, and he said that he recommended, maybe not this year, but next year, as those delinquent taxes start to dwindle down, that we'll bring this to the board and ask you guys to transfer that money to capital outlay. It is money that is ours, but since this fund is closed, he's suggested that we transfer it to capital outlay at some point.
Okay.
Food service, another one I wanted to point out, we had 412,000 carryover, and again, you'll see that the whole amount is budgeted to be spent. That is not the intent or the plan. I know Jessica's still planning on having about that same amount of carryover, but again, to give us the budget authority in case we would need to. So our unencumbered cash balances as of July 1st of 2018 for supplemental general, 439,000. That money is not able to be spent. We have a certain amount in supplemental general that we can spend, but those are taxes that have already been levied that will go towards this year's budget. So helps reduce the mill levy having that carryover. Capital outlay, as I mentioned, 2.7 million. Food service, 412,000. You'll see our contingency reserve balance. Textbook and student material fund, we had 224,000, and the co-op's carryover was 1.7 million. The notice of hearing is the next item on the agenda. This is the actual form that will be going to the newspaper tomorrow morning after your approval. Just highlighting that the general fund, the 20 mills, supplemental general did go down, capital outlay at 8 mills. And then at the bottom, the declining enrollment, which went to 0. And also we have the rec commission and the rec commission benefits. The rec commission benefits did go up, their mill levy did go up slightly. So the total USD 489 mill levy is decreasing by 0.767 mils, and the total mill levy, including the rec commission, is decreasing 0.517 mils. And then, like I said, the whole full budget document is following that. For your review, and I'll answer any questions that you might have. The budget looks strong this year, feel really good about it. Had compliments from both Melissa Romy and Craig Noonschwander. I think everything's looking very good. So
We don't have any control over the rec commission mill levy though, correct? I mean,
We
it's
do not.
basically flow through.
correct, that is
Okay.
exactly correct.
All right, any questions, comments for Tracy?
Thank you for dumbing it down for us.
Just try to highlight some of the areas that I think are important or significant that you'd want to review.
Very good.
It's a lot of paperwork, I know.
Well, then you caught several of my question item areas. So.
Thank you.
So, question, do we need to approve this budget before the 20th, or do we?
No, you'll actually, all we'll ask for tonight is for you to approve us to put the notice of the budget hearing in the newspaper. That notifies taxpayers that they do have the right and ability to come to the board meeting on August 20th, voice any concerns, questions they have, and then we'd actually ask you to approve the budget following that hearing on August 20th.
Very good, but do I need to ask for a motion to
I would
post
move
it?
to publish the
Very
publish the
good.
budget.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Lance, that was you, right?
Yeah.
To publish the budget, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. I believe that was 6, okay? And no no's, okay. Okay, so now moving on to the second item under new business. I'll go ahead and read this, make sure the public hears it. FY19 Notice of Budget Hearing, the governing body of the USD 49, will meet on 20th day of August, 2018, at 6:30 PM at 323 West 12th Street for the purpose of hearing and answering objections of taxpayers relating to the proposed use of all funds and the amount of tax to be levied. Detailed budget information, including budget profile, is available at Rockwell Administration Center and will be available at this hearing. Okay, moving on to item number 9, discussion by board members and agenda requests.
Mike, I'd like to share that Mandy is part of the meeting at this particular time with call-in. So Sarah, if you could write down the
Okay.
time.
Could we let her know that she's been going 2 meetings in a row and they've been relatively short?
I hear that, Bickle.
Yeah, let's blame that one on Bickle. That
Well, I was going to ask if I'm going too quickly because it's only been 20 minutes. Okay, hearing no discussion, well, beyond Mandy being on board now, and agenda requests, I'll move to executive session, unless there's any objections.
Move for the published notice. So we don't have to read it.
Oh, good.
We can just move as set forth in the agenda, right, Bill?
Yes.
Okay,
I got opposed.
wait, I'm
I
sorry.
would move to enter executive session as set forth on the agenda.
So I don't need to read it, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we need a second.
Okay, I have Greg and Lance.
As part of the motion, you still need to designate what time you will be back in the
True,
boardroom.
okay.
I would move to begin at 6:55 and end at 7:15.
All right.
Also, in reading the agenda item, it does not indicate who else would go in the executive session.
I wasn't finished with my motion yet, Bill.
I'm sorry.
That was to include the board attorney, the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, the director of special education, and the director of finance.
Okay,
Now I'm finished.
I believe we have a motion on the table. Okay. Is your second still hold?
Yeah, I'll amend it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6 to, did Mandy approve? 7 to 0.